We're talking to Dr. Michael Mann. By the way, he's Distinguished Professor of Atmospheric Science and Director of the Earth System Science Center at Penn State University. Dr. Mann, you talk about what we need to do, and we need people in government, we need elected officials to take steps. But the fact of the matter is that the big fossil fuel outlets, the big oil companies and others, they contribute so much money to political campaigns in both parties.
Yeah.
How can you be optimistic? I know you're optimistic, but explain to me how you, in the face of that, how can you be so optimistic about what we are likely to do going forward?
Yeah, I mean, there's no question that this is part of a larger problem, and it's something you've talked about a lot. The influence of dark money now on our politics, the Citizens United decision that allows unlimited campaign spending, and so it's all too easy for polluters and vested interests to essentially buy our politics, to basically skew our politics in favor of their agenda. And we saw that happen, of course, under Donald Trump, where the fossil fuel industry was basically given full access to our energy and environmental policy making machinery. And we see what a damaging impact that had, not just on us here in the United States, but in terms of the global diplomacy. As when Donald Trump, backed away from our obligations, we saw China sort of start to back off on theirs, and it had this sort of propagating impact. And now we're seeing that in reverse, though, and that's one of the reasons that I'm cautiously optimistic. There are a number of reasons I'm cautiously optimistic. The youth climate movement, which has recentered this issue on the fundamental ethical obligations for us not to ruin this planet for future generations. I think that's recentered the conversation where it needs to be, because it's not just about science and economics and policy and politics. It's about ethics and preserving this planet for future generations. But I'm also encouraged just by the favorable shift in political winds, where we now have a president, Joe Biden, who's gone forward with the boldest agenda of any president yet when it comes to the use of executive actions to really move us forward on climate. And that's huge. The fact that we're back on the world stage leading on this issue is leading other actors, leading China. It's leading intransigent actors like Australia now to make more meaningful commitments. And so we can now see a path forward. And later this year in Glasgow, it will be a real test to see if we can bring the countries of the world together to make meaningful commitments that really will get us on this path that we need to be on, bringing carbon emissions down by a factor of 2 within a decade. I am cautiously optimistic that we can do that, especially with this renewed leadership that we see here in the United States.